Welcome to Home Cinema and Tech Review. In this video, I am excited because I have finished my review about Wanbo Vali 1. This is the projector. So what you're seeing right now, Wanbo Vali 1 and 135-inch image. But in this video, you're going to witness side by side with a 75-inch TV versus Wanbo Vali 1. And also, I'm going to talk about everything in the beginning just to keep this video more interesting for short information searchers or a long information through the entire video. This won't be a short video by any means, but I'll try to be as fast as I can because this is the second take. I made a long take, 30-minute conclusion, but I'm going to probably dial it down under 10 minutes. So I gotta be fast. Let's go to the long distance and talk about this. Right now, what you're seeing is the Xbox Series X is connected to Wanbo Vali 1, and the picture is 135-inch image. And I'm going to close the ambient lights, but before I do, this is a bright projector, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with my measurements and the declaration. So this could be usable in a lit environment, and you're going to witness with the different lit environment options in this upcoming sections of this video. So everybody asks, by the way, I'm not going to talk about the regular specs that could be found everywhere on internet. So you're going to see the specs on the right, on my right, probably on the screen where the things are a little darker. Where this section, you're going to see the picture. Camera is shooting auto exposure because our eyes adjust. That's why the lights are dimming and also exposure is getting higher. Don't focus on that, but this is like our eyes. So you're seeing probably what I'm seeing right now. Camera is tuned to that. So normally this device declared around 900 amps lumen. Everybody wonders what my measurement is. My measurement is 660 to 677. So that means it is delivering quite a bit of punch. How much? I've checked my X5 Pro review and it was about 630 to 730 with the different modes. So it is quite close to X5 Pro. If you're looking for something bright with a gimbal, this might be your option. And I'm going to talk about the latency. The latency of this device in my tests, interestingly, because I've opened up the game mode and then closed the game mode and tested a couple of times. And what I had with the gaming mode, longer latencies like 55, 42, 64, 43, 58, 56, 53. So roughly longer timing mode, whichever the mode may be, is from 42 milliseconds to up to 60, 64 milliseconds. But we can generally count 55 to 50 to 55 milliseconds. But when I close the game mode off, the latency was 40, 43, 41, 43, 41, 55, 56. So it was about 40 to 55 in roughly speaking. So that means you got something like between 40 milliseconds to 55 milliseconds. That puts this device as a not gamer projector, but I'm going to tell you how you can game and how much experience that you will have. So I think I've told you most interesting parts of personally my measurements, and I'm going to talk through in this conclusion as fast as I can what's positive, what's negative. So before I do, let's go to the main menu of the Android because I'm going to hit YouTube and play a 4K video for you. The reason that I'm going to do a 4K video is actually normally if you put it internally, this device can play full HD video, okay? And that's nothing wrong with that. It has a built-in Android, but if I give it a 4K signal from YouTube, you will have the best picture possible. So that's why I'm giving 4K. By the way, this picture is not in the brightest mode. Let me just show you what I mean by the brightest mode. You're going to see the full menu section in a dedicated section. Right now the PC mode on. Let me just close it down. I will hit Vivid. Get ready. This is Vivid. Let me just go standard. Standard. Let me just go Vivid, Vivid. Standard, standard. Vivid, Vivid. everything is sharpened and punchier on the vivid mode. But when you get close, this is over sharpened for my taste. And I made a dedicated video with the X5 Pro, how you can tune this sort of entry-level or budget-friendly projectors and get the best picture possible. Because as you can see, this has more dynamic range, but this has a lot of punch. So if you go soft, you get the more dynamic range, but when you go vivid, wow, this is boost up. I'm going to talk about positives and negatives, but continue through the standard mode. So I measured with the standard mode and the vivid mode, but the brightness haven't changed too much. But with the X5 Pro, it was changing a little bit more. And one of the reasons of this, I'm testing all the white. Oh, entire picture is white when I'm testing. So when you push the vivid, the edges are getting brighter. Definitely that feels somehow brighter, but when you do the same thing on a full white scale picture, sharpening doesn't add anything, because sharpening add an extra glow around the corners and small lines that will boost up your imagination and your experience to getting things brighter, and that helps. But in total brightness, that is not changing too much. Let me just do it again. Vivid, wow, it's punched out. So I'm going to go back. So what is positive, what is negative of this device? Fast. This device has gimbal, and most of the other models except the T2 Ultra don't. And this device has quite a bit of good speaker, and if I remember correctly, 12 or 15 watts of speakers. You're going to see it in the menu or in the text right here. And the dedicated audio test will be around the corners, and in the description below there is a separate video because of the copyright issues. You're going to be able to listen to 15 minutes of music, different musics. I can clearly tell that cello experience, saxophone experience, guitar experience is great. The only thing that it a little bit lacked is what was the piano long notes, and this is quite difficult even for Anker GBL style dedicated Bluetooth speakers if you're not playing them like a dedicated receiver and pro level big speakers, because it is a difficult sound to emulate. Piano is most of the time difficult, but when you watch a movie, this will get quite a bit of sound, and you will be happy only with this device with its own speakers. Quite boosty, in my opinion, far more than enough for a small room setup. But if you want to match, you can always go Bluetooth and also HDMI ARC. Don't worry about this. So positive, negatives. The positive is the image is bright. That means you can project like this 135, and you can go even bigger for further you sit. You can accept a little bit of softness, because let's just face it, this is a full HD resolution device, and if you go bigger, even though if you give 4K signal, it is going to be getting softer. So this is the ideal picture size in my opinion, 135. Look how big the 135 inch. So this could be usable, and you're going to witness side by side with a TV in the 50% mode. This is a bright projector, so you can use it around 75 to 80 inch like a TV in a daily manner. So you can trust this device using as a daily device. And since it has quite a bit of boost, that's good. People are asking the HDMI ARC. Yes, it has the HDMI ARC, and you can connect stuff. And can it play from USB thumb drive or USB hard drive? You're going to see a dedicated section. It can play from USB thumb drives if you have a small thumb drive with a couple of movies. But I've connected my 2.5 hard drive, mechanical drive, and with entire 1 terabyte filled with movies, it was lacking the speed and just cutting the power of the hard drive after a while, like a couple of minutes. Or if you push the movie forward, just suddenly hard drive was just falling off. I don't know, it's about the power output of the USB thumb drive. If you have a 3.5 inch bigger hard drive with an external power supply, that might be better option suited for this device if you're going to connect your hard drive. But for thumb drive, like a USB thumb drive that I used in that section, you're going to witness there is no problem if you're going to watch full HD. But if you're someone like me focused on the 4K video playback capability, you should go in a direction like X5 Pro or DaVinci One Pro. But when it comes down to the picture sharpness, DaVinci One Pro copy of mine, which one that I've tested, was softer compared to this. So for sharpness, I would go T2 Ultra and Wanbo Vali 1 definitely, instead of a DaVinci One Pro. But DaVinci One Pro, if you have a better copy than mine, and that might be with a 4K playback with quite a bit of interesting design. Everybody loves the DaVinci One Pro's design. You could go that direction. This is Wally 1 is like a Mozart 1 and T2 Ultra had a baby, beefed up. We can call it like T2 Ultra get beefed up like a Wanbo Mozart 1, just a little bit lower on the bass compared to the Mozart 1, at least in my remembering. So who is this projector for then? Like positives and negatives. I'm trying to go fast back and forth. If you're going to for gaming, X5 Pro is smaller latency, so it is more suitable for gameplay like consoles, faster paced games. Can you play game on a Wally 1? Yes, you can. 40 to 55 milliseconds, it's nothing extreme, but in the race games like Forza Horizon 5, I tested around 40 minutes with different modes. I felt a little bit of jagginess, but if you're going to play platform games, third-person games like Uncharted, maybe Tomb Raider, or casual third-person games, or kids games like small race games, Beach Buggy Blitz style games, you will be okay. If you're going to play FIFA, if you run the players, you might feel a little bit of jaggedness, but other than that, I think you can play many of the third-person casual games with the Wally 1 too. Just in case, if you are focusing on the gaming, X5 Pro would be a far better option. But in terms of brightness, everybody asks, this is a bright device and that's the most advanced part. Isn't there anything bad about it? Well, throw ratio is 1.3 to 1. So that makes this device right now 135 inch is roughly 3 meters. So the distance is about 3.9 meters. So this device is a little bit longer throw than some of the other models. And you gotta calculate for that. It's not a negative thing. It's not a positive thing. It's a throw ratio thing. So you gotta know. But when you put it on ground, I was expecting a little bigger picture, but this device has 1.3 to 1 throw ratio. You gotta accept that. So what you achieve is 100 inch, 2.87 centimeters. For 135, 3.9 meters. So 2.9 for 100 inch roughly, 3.9 for 135. So you got to go 1 meter further from 100 to 135. Other than that, Android is little slow, and I will show you how you can solve this. This is the conclusion and the quick tip video. So I'm going to go back for full Android version of this device. As you can see on the top right, 720p 60 Hz. The reason is I'm going to show you the menu. It works quite good. By the way, I've added a couple of apps. Let's go here. It feels good, but not the fastest. But this is the faster version that I managed to create. The reason is obvious. Android, if you higher the resolution, Android systems are not working extremely fast. So in order to experience better response time, you got to go device preferences and display and sound. You're going to see the full menu, don't worry. Screen resolution, and you can drop down from Full HD. It starts from Full HD. I drop it down 720p. That increases the speed of the Android built-in about, I guess, roughly at least feel of things like 20%, 20-25%. So you can go back and check my full guide how you can fasten up your projector or Android TV, built-in TV, with different things that you could do. You could also go to the developer menu and cancel the animation. All these things will get you faster. But in order for you to experience faster projector, you might want to again consider X5 Pro or DaVinci One Pro, because those are playback, 4K playback capable device. Even them, menus are not 4K, menu is Full HD. So you should consider, if I remember correctly, T2 Ultra had a menu of 720p when it comes out of the box, but this device doesn't. I wish they could have thought about this, but still, it's not too much of a bad thing. Let's go here to an OLED menu, as you can see. So I think I've covered entirely positives, negatives, what to be considered about Wali One. So would I buy one? Yes. Isn't there anything bad? Let me just think about it again, because there are lots of positives, and this device doesn't have a offset from the ground up. So it's throwing 50 up, 50 down, and I explained it in my early throw angle guide video. So this is not actually a problem, but as you can see, it is on a tripod looking high, projecting quite straight. This is the best angle, but when you put it on a table and use the gimbal and it's skewing the image with the keystoning, then you gotta optically bad and not the best angle, and then keystone corrected video. So gimbal is a good thing, but that's also making you use it too much, and normally you got to place it on a stand or a bookshelf ideally, and that will give you the best picture. So this is not a negative, not a positive, but a thing to know. But when you mount it on a ceiling, because this device can be mounted on a ceiling, people will ask, that non-offset model you will have to drop it down with an angle of that gimbal. And if you use the gimbal downwards to make it your eye level, because it's throwing 50 up, 50 down, then you gotta keystone the image, and then you will get not the perfect image out of this device. So if you're not drop it down with a longer arm or something, extended arm from the ceiling, this is not, in my opinion, ideal for a ceiling mount. The ideal way to go Wali One is put it on a table, put it on a bookshelf, or put it behind you somewhere, and or at least rotate it to ceiling and use it as a casual projector. I think it's very successful on what it delivers for the price range, but basically you have to know before you choose your next projector. Was I happy with the Wali One? I think it is more suitable for video lovers because of the latency, but it's an overall all-rounder projector, and I really love gimbals. So I love the T2 Ultra, and I liked the Wali One too. In terms of usability, I would get, of course, Wali One because it has quite a bit of punch and speaker on the speaker, and the gimbal is practical, image is bright. That's why you're seeing a 135-inch image. If you can go above, you can go above. If you have a wall, you can go bigger. But bigger you go, it will get softer because this is a full HD device. And face it, let's just face it, this is huge already. So if you want to go big than this, you need resolution if you're going to watch it up close. But if you're going to watch it from far away, you can clearly go 150, 160-inch with this device, maybe even higher. So this could go even bigger, but it will get softer. This is the level that I would highly recommend, 135, 140-inch, and it will be quite good experience. I think I've covered nearly everything about Wanbo Vali 1. Let's go in front of the camera and finish this section. I need to be fast. Okay. Yes, it is about 18 minutes, a lot less than my first shot. I did it 30 minutes, so it is kind of fast for me. So it is still around here. As you can see, the projector is working. It is not a loud projector in terms of audio, but you can hear the fan noise just a little bit. But in terms of usability and scenarios, you're going to see the build quality. I think it's overall, when you look at the price, you will have quite a lot for the price. And which model I would pick? Well, I am a kind of like an X5 Pro guy or a Mozart 1, the Mozart 1 Pro, because of the better dynamic range. But it will all about your choice, whether you will play game or not play game. It will define your choice, and the throw ratio also important. And hopefully I will create a guide about 2025, how you choose the right Wanbo model, because I think it's getting more difficult to people to choose Wanbo models. Let me know what you think about this, because each model is like creating a little bit of gap and creating a new model. It's difficult for people to really from going one direction to another, because the price is not too much, but device is delivering a couple of more specs in terms of, like, let's just say gimbal, stand, and also maybe Android, and then you will lose some of the stuff like the other ones. So if you want the fastest projector from Wanbo, this is not it, because it doesn't have the 4K video playback like X5 Pro or DaVinci One Pro, but it has enough of a power to getting things done, and the speaker is quite good. For that, you gotta listen to the full audio review. And this section is over. I've given you my full conclusion. This is a price performance projector, nothing more, nothing less. And if you have any experience over long time use with the different products from Wanbo, just write in the comment section below without hurting feelings of anyone by insulting. Just keep the language clear, and you can write every experience, because it will help the other users. I'm testing these devices like a couple of weeks, daily basis. You know me, I'm using 4K and over $3,000 devices, 2,500, maybe up to 3,000 and above dollar devices. So these are the devices that I test and use couple of weeks, and I also use them in the bedroom, kids room, or when we travel to the summer house, I take them with me. I think this is one of the practical ones. Personally, I would choose this sort of level for kids room, bedroom, and easy to use like a kitchen. And also, after seeing this 135-inch image, and you will see side by side with a 75-inch TV, I've changed my mind. Yes, you can project big and you use it as a main projector if you don't have high extreme budgets, and that'll be enough for majority of people. So let me know what you think under the comment section below. I want to make clear everything is understandable, and trying to making my videos detailed as much as possible. So you're going to be seeing the different sections: box opening, close-ups, slow motion latency tests, and definitely separate audio video, where you will find in the description. You will find the discount code in the description below, so you can use it and get a better price and help the channel to grow. But other than that, I think I've covered nearly everything. So I will be leaving you with the Vali One rest of the video, full menu, picture quality, and whatnot side by side with the TV. I hope to see you in the next video. Until the next video, bye from Home Cinema and Tech Review, and hoşça kalın from Turkey. This section I'm going to talk about, can you use the Vali One in a lit environment setup. As you can see, this is, my backlight is not working, the top lights are not on, and the ceiling lights are not again on, but we have a Govia light at the edge running in 100%, and it's giving your room quite a bit of lit environment. Of course, when in the bright scenes, things looks good even at the 135-inch scale, but the camera is right now in auto exposure mode. So the camera is trying to shoot HDR-ish way to capture the seats, couches, and TV reflection and darker areas. But room is a little bit darker than actually this. Let me just close down the Govia lights. Let me just close down the Govia lights. So this is a pitch black room, and this is what you are seeing in a 135-inch scale from Wanbo Vali One. So is it enough? I think when your eyes are adjusted, it's quite a bit of more than enough for a pitch black darkroom setup on a white screen. Can you use it like a 135 like this with an ALR? Of course not. The brightness is not enough for that. For this sort of big screen, huge screens, you need a higher grade projector, and the price will have to be above $800, at least around that. So this is quite a bit of good stuff when it comes down to the power and performance. So this section was just about to show you in a lit environment, can it be usable? Yes, it is. And if you're going to use it even smaller, like 75 to 80 inch in a small room in a little bit of lit environment, you'll be happy with the result. So this section is over. And by the way, if you're wondering, the picture is in the standard or the softer modes for better dynamic range. If you have to push the brightness, brightness can go even further. Let's take a look at it because I've shot also the picture style menu. Let's go here. Yes, it's running in the, sorry, the user mode, but if you go vivid, whoa, it will even push further, so you can go standard or soft for more dynamic range. Each one of these modes will make you happy because it is bright enough for general use. But right now you're seeing the blacks with a little bit of less contrast. That is because this room is pitch black, but the screen is pure white and the camera is trying to auto expose. But these scenes are more realistically close than what I see in with my eyes. I think this gives quite a bit of idea. Let me just get close. This is kind of like the picture that you can get from Wanbo Vali 1 in a dark room at 135-inch scale. Yeah, I think it's good enough for the price. In this section of the video, I'm going to answer, can you use it in a lit environment? Here is the room setup. You've seen it with the lit room lights are on, like there's a Govee over here and another Govee light over here. As you can see, Windows has right now the sunshades closed from both angles, and you can clearly see a light coming leaking from the projector screen itself behind it, as you can see. So this is a kind of like a decent lit room where you can read books, but still this is also kind of like a casual light. And the timing is about, yes, 1852. In summer terms, right now we can call it, I guess, in the summertime, it's about 7 p.m. So the picture size, the 75-inch TV is about 166 centimeter on the length. This has 183. It's about 83 to 86 inches roughly. And this is what you see as a picture. Let me just go to the menu from the projector. Let's just try to boost this up. Okay. But still camera is trying to auto expose, but we will probably have a brighter picture. Right now it's running the soft mode. Let's do it vivid. Then that really makes a possible option. Take a look at this. I will walk around here like this. So you can use this projector if you have dimly lit or maybe curtains on in a summer day. You can really use it if the light is not coming directly to your screen. Right now, room is coming from the side, only lights are coming from the sideways, but you can clearly watch the video. Of course, the blacks are not deep because we're not using an ALR, but for this screen size, can you use an ALR? Well, I'm not sure. Like for this level of brightness, you must go a little smaller, like 75, then projector a little bit loses its potential. But since considering this is a cheap projector, well, we could say we could give it a shot. So if you got a long throw ALR, you could try around 80 inches in a small room, and that might get you in a happy positioning to watch video, especially in the vivid, the brightest mode. As you can see here, let me just rotate. This is the picture and this is the amount of brightness. Of course, the camera is trying to auto expose. Some stuff would look like a little bit more contrasted than I see, but this is the picture right now is relevant to what I see. And you're seeing also similar amount of light to what I see from the curtain side of the room. So can you use it? Yes. Less than 90 inch, you can use it in a lit environment. But let me just repeat this process by going from the projector menu to picture, from picture mode. If I go standard, brightness will dim down, and of course the punchiness is going away. So if you want to use it, vivid mode must be probably applied. But can you still use it? Yes, you can. Little bit smaller, I would prefer around 80 inch is and maybe even 75, you will love this projector, because most of the people with like young generations, teenagers, and people with small spaces ask most of the time, can you use it? Yes, you can. In a dark room, you already seen the performance. So this section was just a dedicated placement. What would you do in a kind of like a lit, or at least curtains, sun blockers applied room setup around 80? I would give it a go. Not the best, but it's performed quite good. So this section is over. Welcome to another section of the Wanbo Vali 1 review. Here I will show you, can you use it as a TV kind of like level? Because people ask, and especially for this price range, I think overall use scenarios, this is one of them, and I think this is important for a lot of people. So before diving deep, I want to clarify, this is a TCL T8B My TV 75-inch and running in 50%. I will show you. This is Wanbo Vali 1. Playing from internal Android and Full HD, and it's on the softest and less bright mode. I will punch it in a second, but before I punch the image of the projector and show you what it can do at the max level, I want to show you the room. Right now it's 7 p.m. in a summer day, I guess, so the lights are hitting directly from the sunshade curtains to the wall. So it's not ideal to watch like this, but still it is watchable. And here you can see the scenario. Here you see my sun blocker screen, and beneath light is leaking around here. I will walk through. So the Wanbo Vali 1 trying is best. It's best. And I will get in front of the camera. This is my second take because my microphone did not work. I, forgot to open it up, I guess. That's a big deal. So basically, right now, first show you the TV. TV is a 1000 nits TV. If you don't know, you can go back and check my other videos. Running in the 50%. That means it's about 500 lux level, 500 lumens, you can call it, ANSI lumens. So I'm speaking roughly. They are not exactly the same. So if I want to push the brightness level of Vali 1 from soft mode, because soft gives you the more dynamic range, I can go to vivid. When you go vivid, you really punch everything out. And when you do that, device is giving its all the way what it can deliver of punchiness. Of course, there will be some stuff that will happen along the way of extra sharpening. I will tell you that in a second. But right now you're seeing two nearly identical size. Like this is a 75 and this is roughly about 75 to 70, maybe 6 or 8. But basically you're seeing the picture. Of course, TV has a lot more dynamic range because it is a lot more expensive. But you can clearly use the Wanbo Vali 1 as a TV. That really clearly can be seeable. So if you rotate it up top to the ceiling at night in the bedroom, you can clearly watch it as a kind of like a TV in a dark room setup. Right now the setup is losing a little bit of the contrast because light hitting this way to the wall, and we don't have ALR. Can you use it with ALR? Well, if you want to buy a proper expensive ALR material which will really block the ambient light, then it will cost probably little bit more than the Wanbo Vali 1. That makes it little difficult to propose to use a high level, high quality, future proof. So later on you can use kind of like an ALR screen combination with Wanbo Vali 1. In my recommendation, just get yourself a white wall or white ceiling and use it happy in a darkroom setup. But can you use it? Yes, you can if you have an ALR future upgrade process in your mind. So long throw ALR must be first way to go because they have higher gains, and I will explain in the upcoming videos. But don't go buy cheap ALR material because they have very bad side angles and they tend to create laser speckle, kind of like a speckle effects, like glowing, and if you move your head you can really see the shift on the colors. So with that warning had been done, let me just tell you what happened when you give over sharpen. You can clearly see there is a thin line of light going through the edge of the video. If you can't see it, you can pinch in the smartphone if you have it, if you're watching this from a smartphone, you can clearly see there's a glowing line. So that's what happens if you over sharpen your image, over process your image. Since these things are budget friendly, they don't have the huge capabilities on upscale and sharpening effects like TVs. And basically, like I told you early in the video, probably this doesn't have the capability of the 4K playback like a Wanbo X5 Pro. I am sure it is probably processing better because it has 4K playback capability, but really this also boosting the image in a sort of level that if you need to use it in a lit environment like this, you will be happy with the results. Of course, the color toning is different and the dynamic range is way different with the TV. The blacks are way better, but considering the price of the TV by itself is more than 5 times expensive than the Wanbo Vali one, and you cannot do this with a TV, right? Let me just take the Vali one and take it far back, and right now I have more than 100-inch image, and it's going to try to focus. Don't worry if it doesn't, because we have obstacles, TVs, and of course there's a unit that I control the room light. I think even with all the obstacles and the TV, because TV is having a non-reflective surface, it really success on this part. So you have a clear idea. You can't do the same thing with a TV. So you can go small and you can go big. So what happens if I go small with the bright mode, if I wanted to use it as a TV? So this is smaller. I think this is kind of like a 50-inch, roughly. Let's just leave the projector to do its thing. It will auto process, correct? This taking a little bit longer than X5 Pro, in my opinion. So we got quite a bit of punch. So since the camera is trying to expose both of them in the same time, you might see a line or kind of like effects. But that probably will be happening with the camera shutter. I think you can use it around a 55-inch level, just like this as a TV. Let me just stand between two of them. And even so, go for a more dynamic range. Okay, if you go 50, you can use it without boosting too much of the sharpness, and you can use it in the soft mode with a more dynamic range, or a standard mode with a little bit best of both, like a dynamic range and also sharpness and punchiness. So this section is about to go over, and I think I've given you enough of an example. Of course, it's not going to match the too much expensive TV, but this will give you an idea if you're going to use it as an only device in a small room setup. You can really use it and probably like the result for the price. I want to repeat this always. You will be happy for the price. In this dedicated section of the video, I want to show you how a bedroom setup could be. I've created a dedicated guide about perfect bedroom setup early in my channel, so you can go back and check that video out. Let me just silence my phone before anyone calls or just interrupts. So right now what you're seeing is, let me just see the pictures with, and this is about 100 and let's just go from these arms. I'm putting a lot of effort, by the way. Nobody else does this sort of stuff, in my opinion, in general. This is a 170 centimeters, which means it's about 166 width is 75-inch TV. So this is 78-ish or 77 maybe. So the distance between the projector and the units or the wardrobe is 2.35 or 2.36 centimeters. So 230 centimeters will give you estimated 77-inch size, which is not huge. So this is one of the things that you should be knowing. Like if you really care about 100-inch, you need a bit of distance with this device. But let me just show you another stuff. So I've showed you how you can put it around the corners, how you can use a tripod. If you got a tripod and a good bit of cabling, you will achieve, but I'm not going to show you every bit of scenario in this video. I got a white wardrobe. You can go back, check that video, quite reflective because it's piano white. And I'm going to take the projector to the corner of the room. So when that happens, distance is increasing, but let's see what happens because optically I am distorting the image. So when that happens, even if it corrects, optically image is not going to be perfect. Can it do the autocorrection? No, it didn't. So let's try it again. So change it. So I am putting it to the corner because if I send it to corner, the picture is going around right where I want it. This is about 100-inch-ish sizes. Let's just wait a couple of seconds, see if it can fit the screen because it's difficult for the device because I have highly reflected arms. Voila, it did. I wasn't expecting, by the way. So I am quite a bit of shocked. The correction is perfect, but the focus is out, but it's easy. You can use your remote control, see the pixels, and voila, I am done. So I accidentally hit the back button, so no problem there. Let's go to a search again. I guess the Home Cinema Tech test account will be doing just fine. Any other account won't work. So 8K clarity, I want to open up. But by the way, if you can see there's a bit of ghosting effect around the corners, that's normal because we are not sending the best optical signal. And the amount of reflections, skip the survey, amount of reflection is quite high. It's bouncing back through the next wall. This is acting like a mirror, but the picture, let me just sit into or lay down onto the bed. Easily watchable, but around the right side, since we are optically distorting the image, right side is lacking a little bit of the focus, and that's normal. I've created a whole another tutorial. Let me double check the microphone. So this could be easily watchable image if you're laying down. And right now, let me just check the color mode. As you can see, text is quite soft. Let me just try to focus it. Yes, when I do focus for the text, I can, but I lost the sharpness in the center. So this is the general rule I teach you on the first full guide, so you can go back and watch. Go back and watch why you should be projecting straight, because optically distorted image, the distance are far away and it's digitally skewed. So if I want, even if I correct for the focus, I can't focus two different places like that edge and the center in the same time. So always try to focus or project straight. But what I can do is, let me just lay down into the middle. What I can do is what this projector intended to. I can take the projector up close to me. This is a straight image, by the way, and I can project it up to the ceiling. And when I do that, the picture, let me just take it right beside me. It's becoming a little difficult, but the picture is right now what I see. I don't know if you can see fully the ceiling. I can describe it around 40 inches. So it's not huge, completely huge. So that's one of the things. Like if you're going to put it on a small table right beside your bed, like a left or right, majority of people do. And this scenario might not work perfectly. Like the image is not going to be like eating you up like a huge picture. So this is a TV size image. So this is about the throw ratio. Nothing wrong with the projector. You have to put it onto the ground. When you do it, let me just do it like this. This is, I put it on the ground, by the way, and I'm going to adjust. By the way, I rotate it. The reason is that right now bed will probably hit. So if I, put my legs to you, it's not a correct way to pronounce or present the video, of course. The picture is right now about 80 inches on the ceiling. So The distance between the main issue is the distance between the ground level or optical elements, the lens of the projector, and the wall is 2.47 49, sorry, from the ground it is hitting 2.65. So this is not the highest ceiling of all times, but if you have less than 3 meters of ceiling, you can have a big picture, but in a certain level. I think this is quite a bit of interesting scenario. You can literally lay on the ground and watch it up top through the ceiling, and it could be like a storytelling, or before the bedtime. It's not ideal for serotonin levels, but if you're going to watch it, a football match or just a YouTube video that you like a content like my channel, this is quite a bit of good scenario. And right now the light is looking great, if you ask me, because it's bouncing. You can see me clearly. So this has a lot of scenarios. If you want to put it onto bed, just like this here. Oops, sorry. Don't look at the light. So this is the picture normally. Okay, it's a bed, I know, but it's going to be automatically correcting everything, and 75-inch, 80-inch in a bedroom with a high volume, something like this. I think it's great. So if you have a bookshelf on the top, right in the middle of your bedroom, you can use it. But after using the projector, I highly recommend, because it has autofocus camera, I think it's a privacy issue. So you should pull the plug out and leave it powerless. So if you want to make sure everything is not recorded. So it's my personal privacy issue, at least recommendation. So if you can put it inside of a cabinet without the power and then take it out, this is one of the easiest ones for the room setup. But you have to be careful how much of a picture size that you want to have and how much distance, and that's a throw ratio topic. But still, it's an interesting scenario. But if you want a bigger picture, you should go look for the other Wanbo models. They might give you a bigger picture with a different throwing ratio. That's about it. I hope you had another idea about how you can use it in a bedroom setup. Welcome to the full menu details of the Wanbo Vali 1 section, and here we're going to look at the Google interface and how it works, how it performs. On the top left we got the voice command. Let's try that. Home cinema and tech review. Okay, home cinema and tech review. It find out the basic speed is not fast as the X5 Pro, which is natively understandable because of the league difference. The X5 Pro has 4K video capability. This device can only play Full HD, so the internal hardware is not the same, but you can see the Home Cinema and Tech Review channel. One of the example videos that I created, ultimate comparison for ALR and widescreen guide video. So I'm going to go back to the menu. On the right side, click the type if we're going to look for something. Home menu, which is basically where we are right now. And when you go to the shopping, you can buy and watch the movies from your archive from Google TV. So basically, if you want to buy from Google the movies or rent the movies, this is the place. And here is the apps. The native apps is starting from Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube, Google Play Movies, like I showed you on the shopping tab, and YouTube Music, Google Play Store, and on the top bottom left, Google Play Games. The other ones are the ones that I've installed for testing: AIDA 64, File Manager Plus, Kodi, and VLC. I couldn't find the MX player, but I can find the MX player in my phone S24 Plus, so no worries there. Go back to the home section. This is the home menu, and as you can see, all the pre-installed apps like Netflix, Prime, YouTube, like I showed you in the apps section. And you can also add something like this. Let's add an app. Let's add a Kodi to the menu, and let's add a VLC to the main menu. So that's making this menu quite filled up and better looking in my opinion, a little bit more app, but still fills the entire screen. So here we have the Netflix recommendation or presets that comes with where you are. Maybe it's locally looking because some of the movies are from Turkish market, so it could be checking the IPs and internet connection. YouTube recommendation probably comes again from the location that you are in. So that's about that. And other than that, we got top selling movies, and bottom of that, YouTube Music, and some of the future Google Play apps, as you can see here. The menu speed, like I showed you and told you in the early section, you're not going to compare this with the X5 Pro, which is one of my favorites. It's similar to T2 Ultra. So basically, this device can internally play Full HD, and of course, it can do everything with a L1 license Google device can do. So this is the menu. What about if you go to the top right and here the home cinematic test account, and here you hit the settings. You can also hit the settings of the remote control. Here we have the wireless network, account sign in, apps, and if we click, we can see the apps and we can see the app permissions, and also you can change the app's restrictions. Other than that, we got device preferences and remote accessories. So remote accessories are going to be like a uh, probably Bluetooth remote control that I'm using right now, Bluetooth headphones, earbuds, keyboards, mouse, and stuff. So you can connect a lot of stuff to this device. And other than that, device preferences is going to be starting by About. Let's go to the About. We got a system update. Device name is TV Stick. You can probably change it. Let me just try. Yes, we can change it into a Wanbo Vali 1 maybe. Status, Hailstone version, TV stick operation system is Android TV 11. Latest update was about August 2024, and that's about it. Other than that, we got date and time. If you're good with Android, you probably see what's coming inside. In language menu, you can basically find any language since it's based Android. So here we got the current keyboard, Gboard settings, and manage keyboards if you're going to install some of the keyboards. Display and sound. Screen resolution is here. As you can see, 180p, Full HD, 60p, or 59.94 Hz. The color space settings, as you can see, you can change stuff. YCB CR444 12 bits, and again, same thing, 10 bits, and YCBCR 444 8-bit, 422 on 12 bits, and RGB 12-bit, 10-bit, and RGB 8-bit. All these things are not going to be extremely flying your projector away when it comes down to the color depth. It's about also what your sensor has, how much budget you spent to this device. Always HDR or off. Right now is always on. Other than that, screen positioning, as you can see, zoom in, out, or current scale is. So first, look at the current scale. I think it's on the 100%. Let's click. Okay, if I hit it. So let's zoom in screen or zoom out. As you can see, I just realized on the top, blue text says current scaling is 100%. And if I go out, I will zoom kind of like in because I am going out. This is where I can go, 80%. Let's go all the way zoom in. What happens? And this is about that. So you got 20% of margin. It's not that much if you ask me. Some of the models were having more when it comes down to here. CAC switch allow the TV to control HDMI devices, and auto change language with the TV kind of like source settings. System sounds are on right now, and advanced sound settings. Select formats. Let's hit it. As you can see, auto and none. Never use surround sound kind of like type. And this is the display and sound. Let's go to storage, how much we have.
Total space is about 5 gigabytes, which is not too much. If you hit it, you see the apps and the things that I used. I haven't used it like for a long time, but for a review purpose, I've watched a couple of episodes and also used it with the Google YouTube. So it's working quite fine. Home screen is when you hit it, customize the channel, enable video previews, enable audio previews. Maybe you can cancel these and remove some of the previews that could speed up the process of the main menu and operating system. Recorder apps, and what else do we have? Android TV Home and Core Services. When you hit Core Services, okay, let's take a look. This is the Core Services then. Go back. Android Home. These are about licenses, so nothing wrong with that. I'm coming back. Google Assistant. I'm not going to hit it in. Google Casting, if you're going to cast. Screensaver. Backdrop. When to start 15 minutes of inactivity, and you can start here for now to see a couple of pictures like an wall art. Energy saver, as you can see, if you hit never 15 minutes 30 if you're going to sleep after watching the projector from a ceiling, that is a nice touch. Location is off right now. You can make it on and share the location for there to improve their software. Use diagnostics, if you hit it right now it's closed. uh, Data sends to Google and they improve the system stability, but I don't do that. Accessibility, when you hit it, captions, high contrast to text, experimental it says. Let's try this. Yeah, it really changed the when you look at the installed apps on the top left or find more apps and games on the bottom. I'm going to do it again. Whoa, it really pushes the text quite a bit of far away and adds a like external uh, stroke to it. It really helps if you're going to project for probably educational reasons like text more. Text to speech, accessibility shootout, talkback, switch access, and STT accessibility services. And we got the restart, and this section is about that. And other than that, I don't think that I have anything else. When you hit the projector menu button, which is on the remote control again, you got the first image correction, picture focus, auto keystone, manual keystone, auto screen alignment, smart optical obstacle avoidance, display scale, and keystone reset. So first go to picture focus. If you hit this, device automatically just refocuses by its own. And as you can see on the left bottom, there is a big single-seater couch. So it is preventing for the corner to properly expose and check everything is right, but still things working quite good when it comes down to the focus. Auto keystone. So when you hit it, again, the automatic focusing and keystoning system works and corrects the image. This works, of course, if you're going to use it a little bit of from corner or bottom to up to bottom. Manual keystone correction. When you hit it, you get yourself a four corner and you can adjust it. Let me just show you by adjusting. Whoa, still going, still going. Let's take a look how much deeper that the corners can get. Yes, around here. Not too extreme. Okay, again, manual keystone correction. Okay, I need to hit the icon of man to reset it. As you can see, it automatically resets. Auto screen alignment, it works when you see a screen. Smart obstacle avoidance will work if you're going to pass through the projector in front of it, stay for a while kind of stuff. But when you hit it, it just tries to understand what is there as an obstacle in front of the projector screen. Other than that, let's hit the button again. What else do we have? Language, about. About, I guess Little bit of same again, but little bit of different too. Advanced settings. Everybody will probably wonder. Projection method. Front, rear, front ceiling, rear ceiling. You can project any way you like with the Wally 1. Autofocus boost, autofocus move, auto keystone boost, auto keystone move. Auto object avoid is right now closed. User calibration guide has not been adjusted. System update is here, and also factory reset is here. So probably this section is over when it comes down to the full settings of the menu of Wally 1. In this section, we're going to take a look at the picture settings of the Wally 1. Normally, I've created a full guide how you can get better image out of Wanbo X5 Pro, and that will cover probably nearly every Wanbo model in the market. You hit the settings button on the projector remote control, you go to the picture, and here you have the color temperature and picture mode. Picture mode is the most important part, and it runs standard right now. When I push the vivid, as you can see, brightness is pushed up, but not only the brightness, but edge sharpness is digitally adjusted. So if you're bothered with this, vivid might be a little far off for you, because when I go back to the standard, as you can see, there is a more dynamic range section, but there is a punchy image like a HDR looking style. So if I go back and forward, you can clearly see the difference from here to standard to soft, even more dynamic range. So you have to cover, if you want to cover the full dynamic range that this device can deliver, at least in a way, you should go to a user and create some sort of brightness decreasing. And also I've just adjust the saturation to a certain point like 56 to 60 and sharpness to 60, because if you push too much, let me just show you, everything becomes over sharp, and that's kind of like digital effect. Let me just go back down to 60 where it all really makes a natural for me. 60, 56, or 60 again, like this. The rest is 50, depending on your mood and what you play, of course. If you're going to play something, that's about it. So this section was about the picture menu. There is no dedicated video, default video that you can watch and also adjust the picture quality, but you can do it from this menu. And as you can see, picture is right now 135" and quite a bit of good details in everywhere. So this section is over. Okay, we're going to retry it with a USB thumb drive instead of a hard drive filled with movies. So 1 TB is a lot to handle by a smart compact device. So, okay, Kingston Data Traveler 3.0, and I'm giving the permission to always use it. And we are seeing 40 gigabytes of filled space inside of a 128 gigabytes of storage. Let's go from here to movies. It works faster than a hard drive. Let's go with the Wild Robot, and this is a full HD RIP. And always buy the official movies. Just buy it with the license, watch it with the license. This is just for demo purpose only, okay? So normally my entire hard drive archive is based on Blu-rays. So I am moving forward, see if that works. Yes, it's going inside of the movie, but not too fast. So I'm going to hit back. Everything works pretty fine. So if you're going to have a question, the question is simple. If you connect too big of a hard drive, these things might fail along the way in general, like a 1 or 2 gigabytes of storage RAM and 4 or 8 gigabytes of storage, and a RAM combination like 1 to 4 gigabytes or 2 to 8. If the chipset is entry level, not be able to play 4K, they might get slower. This is a full HD playback capable device. So we have pushed the limits with the 1 terabytes of drive. Most of the time, that's why I use mini PCs. So we can't really judge this based on this, but you gotta know this, like from a USB thumb drive,
it works fine if you're going to watch full HD movies. So let's try something else. Let's go from here to let's go here below. I think we got a couple of files. This is a 12K HDR video, and this is a 4K HDR Dolby Vision. So let's try if it's going to be able to play it or not. I'm going to, sorry. Okay, I pushed the wrong button. Let's go again. Find those files. I'm hitting the 4K. Let's hit play. Can't support the AV1. So if you're looking for playing the 4K video files that you have, like ripped Blu-rays of your own archive, or the stuff that you download, like a high resolution, I suggest to get an X5 Pro. But if you're going to be enjoying general use, there's nothing wrong with that. You can play most of the stuff if you download it like a full HD, but don't forget to connect 128 gigabytes of USB thumb drive or up to 250 like me. If you fill the drives like a 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte and connect it to this sort of device, it will take a long time. And if you have to connect, let me just remind you, this was a 2.5 hard drive with a USB Type-C to Type-A cable conversion, but without any additional power input. So if you're going to connect a hard drive, try to choose an additional enclosure that uses a power input just in case, because sometimes these standard power ports might not be enough, because these devices are not tuned to like some of the other bigger projectors, because they tend to design like to giving a power to a dongle, but these devices are most of the time using the built-in internal dongles. So the ampere or the power output of the USB thumb drive might not be the best for your 2.5 hard drive. If you have an SSD, you might not have the problem that I had with the mechanical hard drive section. So this section is over. It can play full HD without problem from a thumb drive or an SSD plug-in drive. But if you got a mechanical drive that draws a little bit more power and filled with movies, well, you gotta delete some movies or get a new drive. So this section is over. Welcome to the box opening section of the Wanbo Vali 1. Let me just double check the camera and rotate the box. As we can see, the clearly device on the front, full HD logo, Android logo, autofocus, and let me just check, dual band Wi-Fi. On here, we got 200-inch rotating stand. So it shows how much versatile it is, how much movement that it can do, and you're going to see it in a second. And right now, it's trying to fire upwards. So let's go open up the box. This is the first section that I do before the review, but this is probably the last section that you see. Enjoy Unlimited says on the top. And I'm removing the first cover, and I will show you what happens. Once you take the first cover, you got user manual. It's just a little bit stuck, but not a problem. When you, let me just correct this. When you look at from the top, you're seeing the box content which fitted inside of the gimbal section. That is a logical choice, and the projector is inside and nothing else. So I'm going to remove the cable, the box. So this is the Wanbo Vali 1, and I think with overall packaging, it's quite protected. Let me just take this out. The projector is out, and the video is autofocused and also depth adjustment with the blurred background. But don't worry, we will shoot close-ups. So this is the remote control, white power cable, nice touch, quality checked logo, and additional dust filter, another extra thumbs up from me. And the box content is finished. So let's take a look at the remote in advance, just before dive deep on the specs and physical abilities of the projector. Let's get close. This is the remote control, and as you can see, we got home button, focus upwards and downwards or right to left, and mute button, volume up and down, back button. These are like mainly focused on Android. YouTube, Prime, Disney, and Netflix logo. These are because this device has Android and also Google TV and everything licensed basically. So we got a voice control button, make things easier, source button here, and we got the user profile button for Android, settings of general, and projector settings, just if you want to change something from visual. And here we got the power button. I wish this was coming in a white color because the Vali one is white, working with two AAA batteries. I wish it was white. It will feel and look better because some of the projector remote controls like Mozart 1, and if I remember correctly, the T2 Ultra, I'm not sure about the T2 Ultra, but definitely sure about the Mozart 1 white remote control. I love that design, but this is a Google standard remote. I hope they make it in a white, but still it fits overall persona of this device. And the cable is a smart choice with a 90-degree. That's getting another thumbs up from me. And the user manual, before that user manual, we got the filter, dust filter, quite a bit of detail in here and where you can pull it off. We're going to take a look at that. And then we got a huge user manual. Okay, that's a huge user manual with a detailed throw ratio explained. And we're going to dive deep. Mine is a little bit cranked up on the way that it come to me, but that's about it. So what do? I will take all these things, okay, put the remote in my pocket, and I will get closer. So in order to do that, let me just drop down the camera and get close, and even drop down a little bit closer. And so no CGI, you're seeing a blurred background. I think the picture is quite good looking. So we got a Wanbo silicone based cover, which is another thumbs up. So it protects the optical, at least getting dust on the surface of this, and it really looks, and it will protect it. Like if you're going to put it inside of a cabinet, it won't be hitting anything. But since this has the gimbal, you can make it downwards. If you lose this, that's another advantage. You can flip it down. You can protect the optical element without any of the cover. But still, having the cover is always a nice touch. And the Wanbo logo here, if I rotate it, you can see it. Let me just rotate it fully just before diving deep the specs. And the Wanbo Made in China logo here. We got ventilation holes here like a golf ball surface. We got a gimbal, probably screws underneath this cover, but you can take them apart if you got something else extra like long time use, if you want to screw them or unscrew them for that matter. We got a power button on the edge, and we got the headphone jack. That's a nice touch. HD input, it says HDMI, USB, and designed by Wanbo as always. And we got a grill here, and we're going to take a look at deeply, closely, and another grill area here. If I remember correctly, this is the input on the right, or let me just double check. No. This was the exhaust, if I remember correctly. I will check when it's working. I will let you know in the full review. Basically the parts that you watch already. This is the box opening section. And after that, all I wanted to tell you is the power input is here, which is important, around the corner, so you don't have a cable fiddling around. That's a nice touch. And the gimbal works great. Just take a look at this. Quite smooth and really sturdy. So you can really rotate like this to up top, even go further, and then you can go like this, and then you can go even further. So this is quite a bit of thing, 200 degree. And at the back, enjoy unlimited. And here we have the back. Again, design-wise, I think this is one of the best ones, like the T2 Ultra that I really loved and enjoyed. Still enjoy using it for a casual reasons. I think this section is getting to be done, but before that, I want to just put the remote. Let me know what you think about the remote's color. Like if you guys ask too much from Wanbo brand, I guess they can make white remote control to this, and it will look probably better. By the way, if you're wondering, this hole can keep the remote control underneath. And I think it's a pretty good touch because you don't want to lose the remote. This is a good spot to put the remote whenever you want. And when you don't want to use the remote, I think It's not having any button on it, but basically this is the simplest design that they can go, and many of the manufacturers are choosing this way. So you need the remote control, or you can use a USB, probably a mouse or a keyboard. So, and also the Bluetooth versions too. So this section is over, but there is a smart projector detail and autofocus full HD detail here. And the smart projector, of course, autofocus and auto keystone correction and screen understanding. That's also making things automatically fitted. So these areas are working for that. And you got a small Wanbo logo and smart projector text. I don't know which idea comes from this line. Technically, I wish it wasn't there. Pretty white, and it will be just all around, but it's just making another line to, you know, adjust this area. Is this area like something else? So let me know what you think about these design choices, but I think they are quite successed when it comes down to the build quality, plastic wise, and also sturdiness. You can't really shake it. The thing that shakes is the table, not the device, and it's a pretty solid thing. So this section is over. I just forgot about how you can change the filter. Since there's a spare filter in the box content, you take a nail, if you have nails, okay, just a little bit, and you take the cover off, and here you are. As you can see, here is the filter. Let me just readjust. So you can pull it off like this here, and then clear it off and give it back, and then put the cover on, and here you are. Just before finishing the video, I mean, I want to make a dedicated gaming section where you can really see 135-inch image where I sit. So this is kind of like a little lower than my eye level, but you're going to witness a menu. So in terms of third person, Tishia is one of the games for my kid. And as you can see, when you rotate around, it doesn't feel too jerky, sort of these sort of games. But when I look left and right, it feels not right. But can you play? Yes, but after a while, you feel a little tired. So I think it's not just about the latency, but it's also about the process along the way, but you can use it. It might be also about the game. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to open up Forza Horizon 5. By the way, you're watching a 24p video. So it could be about 24p, and I am playing in the Full HD 60p. And I'm not trying to match the visuals. I'm just trying to show you what a huge picture looks like on this big scale of image with the tabletop reflection. I think tabletop reflection makes things easier. You are seeing my pencil and probably light measurement tool and also notebook. I can clearly say 135 from where I sit, like 3.8 is quite immersive. You can really use even 120 for that scale. Let's go back here. I always love the Forza. So let's rotate around the car. So when you do rotate, it's crazy. So when you put a gas, I can clearly feel the jaggedness. I don't know if you're getting through the picture, but after playing from a TV, 144 hertz TV, or some of the other projectors that I have with the gaming capabilities around 20 milliseconds or maybe even less. So this feels really choppy, and probably an amateur or first-time projector user won't be understanding what's going on, but after 10 to 15 minutes, you feel a little bit of lag, okay? And you feel like you're missing something. So that's what it is. So I will close this game. And what could you play then? So let me just go around here. You can play Superbox. These are like casual games for kids most of the time. And I will probably create a video, like if you love this sort of content, you can write in the comments what could be one of the ideal games to play with projectors, because you can't choose like a TV, okay? And this is a casual kid game. If you hit, you die. That's about it. You got one life, and you got to collect the boxes without hitting the corner, without hitting anywhere. And you got to drop the post. I think I'm getting good. And bam, bam, it's over. So this will give you an idea about full gameplay. Yes, you can play.